going to talk about database development. So what we want to do now is the development in database, just like as you learned about data type in programming. There are data types in database too. The essence of database is for us to be able to store the data so that we can retrieve them for later use. So that any data you add into the application at that time, you store them, then later we can retrieve them and use it. So there are what we call database. There's what we call database server. There's what we call database. There's what we call tables. So in the database server, a database server will give you the possibility to create database and create table and manage your data. So in the database server, you can have as many database as possible. So and we have different type of a database server. One of the database server we have is we have MySQL. We have MSQL, Microsoft SQL Server. We have Postgre SQL. We have Oracle database. We have DB2. There are a lot of database management systems. So, but before you can create your database create table, you need to install any of these server. But what we are working with now is MySQL Server, which you have installed before. So from the MySQL server, we now begin to write. Should I bring that far? Yeah. From the MySQL server, no, you can just let it fix it. It's okay. From the database server, we now begin to create database. Create database. Do this. So what we are going to use now is MySQL. So there are syntax which you need to know when you are creating the database. But the first thing you need to talk about is when you want to talk about the data structure, the data type. Just like we have data type in programming, where we have string, where we have integer, float. Here too we have data type. So we have double, we have a integer, we have a big int, we have a boolean, we have a text, we have vector, we have character, we have a long text, we have short text or medium text, something like that. We have a JSON, we have a blob is blob. So these are the data type. We equally have this one too. We have decimal. So anytime you want to store a double, is either you use a number with decimal point, is that you use double or you use decimal. Anytime you want to store, you know that okay, this is going to be a number with that decimal. Just you can use integer for it. You get it? Yes, sir. So if you know you want to store something that has to be true or false, you use boolean. But true or false in MySQL is 1 or 0. Okay. So instead of normal true or false. But even when you pass true or false from your Java program and you save it into database, it will change you to 1 or 0. So if we want to store a text, maybe you want to have a complete essay text, we want to store it in a particular column. The column will have a text as a data type. And if you want to use varchar, it means that you have to specify the length. Maybe I can say 200. It means that the text I'm going to insert here must not be more than what? 200. Likewise, character, you can specify the length for it. And we have the data type too. We have date, we have time, we have date, time. You understand? Those are the data type we have. If you know you want to store time in a table, you use time. If you know you want to store ordinary date, if you know it is date and time, you use this. So what we do is when you want to, what we first do is how do you create database? So when you create a database, you know you can create as many database as possible. But when you create a database, you first issue a statement that creates database. So this is how to create a database. So when you want to create a database, you use this statement. You now say create database, then name of DB. So if you say create database, you now put the name of the database. The name of the database could be anything, it can be anything. So, but you know you can create as many database as possible. But if you want to start creating table, you need to specify the database you want to use for creation of table. So how do you specify? Because if you have like 5 or 6 database, what you need to do, you now say use, let's say name of DB. I can say EG. I can say okay, use let's say we have database that call computer. It means that anytime I create a database, I'm creating table, it will continue creating that table into a database called what? Computer. Do you get it?
No, sir.
You can have as many database as possible. I'm not talking about database server. I'm talking about database. As when we say create database, let me give you an instance here. Let's say okay, create database computer. At the end of every statement there should be a semicolon. You know, I've created a database called computer, so I may say create database store. So I've created another database called store. So but before I will now begin to create table, I have to say okay, this is where I want to be creating a table.
Okay.
So I will now say okay, use store. It means that when I say use store, if I execute this statement, if I now create table, all the table will be created inside the store. So if I say okay, use computer, it means that any next query will be directed to this
Computer.
do you get it?
Yes,
So if you want, assuming that they just bring you to a database server, of course you want to see the list of all the database you have. So all you can do is you now say okay, show databases. So show databases will show you the list of all the databases you have. You understand? So how do we create table? As we want to create a table called student, and our students so let's say we want to create a table called what? Student with the following: ID, matric number, age, fee, right? We have email, we have phone, we have what? You can say level, you can say date, register. You understand? So if you now want to create this table, what data type is ID is going to be? It's going to be integer.
Okay.
Because ID is just normal, so that it will say okay now 1, 2. So matric number, what data type?
Double.
Matric number cannot be double now.
Char.
String. So you see that you use string when you are talking about string. You see that you use text or you use varchar or you. But since matric number is not that long, you can use varchar and specify the length.
Okay.
So the fee is going to be what?
Double or decimal.
Here, double or decimal. Email is going to be what? String, which is varchar. Phone number, the same thing. Because you may have 2 phone number you want to enter.
Okay.
Because you have number you're separating comma. If you use integer for phone number, it will not work. Then department you can use. Then level you can say 200, 300, 400. So in that case we use what? Integer. Date register we use what? Date time, because we want to know the time that is registered and the date. So if you want to create this table, this is what you use. Let me explain it so that You now say create table. The name of the table is student. You understand? This is how you do it. Create table what? Student. So you now begin to put the data type. What is the data type for ID? Int. What is the data type for this? Let's say the total length is 10. You understand? What is the data type for this? Int. So don't specify the length for int. What is the data type for this? Double. What is the data type for this? If you say varchar, if you say car, you can still give it. That's the length is 50. So it what this one means is the length of your email must not exceed 40. So if you use varchar, is the same thing. If you use character, it's the same thing. We are just trying to use all so that you understand. Date register should be what? Date time. So immediately you put and you hit enter, this one will create the table inside the last database you specify. So what you now think about is anytime you want to work, you need to determine what data type, because they can give you descriptive text. You are now going to extract table from it. I will show you the sample text given to me, which I have to extract all the table. See, programming is practical. There is no theory there. Because I remember some people will just say, I need a student management system. I want to be able to register students, register their course, and I want to keep record of their school fees. You will know that okay, you have one table that keep biodata of students. You have one table that keep the payment. You have one table that keep cost. So you need to come out with all the column for cost, all the column for. You understand? Okay. So now let's say we have another table we want to create to keep school fees. So let's say this is not we don't want to put school fees here. You understand? You can say create table payment. It will have ID integer. You understand? It will now have you can say matric number. Now say amount double. You now say date paid. You understand? And I can say comment text. Maybe we have any comment you want
date
to put.
page. It should be in data.
Date page should be
Date time.
date time or date. It depends on your choice. If you hit enter, this table will be created again. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So that means we have created how many tables? Two tables. So how do we add record into table? Let me tell you something again. This ID, anytime you are adding record into this ID, you have to be specify adding record. But at times you want it to be anytime you add record, you add this so that it will increase by itself. That's what we call auto increment. Let's say we have a table cost reg. ID can say int, can say not no. Auto is this auto increment used to be together? Auto increment. It means that this table is this ID must not be what? No. That's the meaning of what? Not no.
Okay.
If you don't want this matric number to be, we forgot to put varchar here. If you don't want it to be, we now say not no. It means that anytime you are adding record into this table, you must
Put something.
put something there.
Okay.
You get it?
Yes.
So if I now say course code, course title, matric number, date created, date what? Time. So course code, course title, let's put the voucher of 30 for every one of them. So our course code can be a voucher of what? Course title. What should the course title be?
Yes.
Text. Let our matric number be this. It means that this one will be increasing by what? Itself.
It's auto.
This ID. So you don't need to bother to add a record into this. You can only add for this four. This one will increase by itself. So how do we add record? Let's first add record into the first table. How many columns? So this is how to add record. You now say insert into what we want to insert into student. You need to specify the column you want to insert record into. I want to insert into what? Look at the student table. Look at the column it has.
ID.
I want to insert into matric what? Number. I want to insert into what? Age. I want to insert into what? Email. I want to insert into phone. I want to insert into department. I only want to add to what? Level. And I want to add to what? Date registered. So what do you want to add into that into this? This is the column I want, because at times you may not want to insert into all the fields. So I have to now say values. So this is now the actual value you want to add there. I can now say 1.
Respectively, right?
Yes. According to the order of
Okay.
how you specify. If matric number comes before this, so that's how you are going to specify it. You can add it, specify it like that. Let me just come.
I think loud. Of values. I played there to someone later down. So, you don't think you're there, no? Balance on there.
Báwo ni mi ṣe máa wà? Báwo ni màá ṣe string náà? Àṣé ó máa ní double quote báyìí. Email.
Anything tó bá jẹ́ integer kò ní.
O ti fi èjì. Matric number ló ṣe ìwà ṣe èjì náà.
Matric number ṣe wọn gbogbo ṣe integer tó wọ́n máa ń.
Student ni one, okay, age ló máa tẹ̀lé. So máa jẹ́ ṣe 23.
Next thing.
Email máa ní double quote àbí?
A single quote.
Okay,
Single quote.
Single quote, okay.
Every character or text in this thing is
It's single quote, not double quote.
Not double quote.
Oh yeah, now add it.
Email máa jẹ́ kí.
Just put
What is
any.
correct?
That's Omega.com. The next thing. Yes, phone.
Phone is also what?
Voucher. Yeah. 080. The next one is department. Electrical electronics. You now put open.
Oh, you can.
Ben. As in for the first one. Okay, ocean level. Oh shit.
Where is the level? You can take this one to the next one. It doesn't say levels.
Level.
Is it the level? The level, is it the last one?
No.
No, and
It
date.
means date registered.
If you want to put date register, you can put it in a string. like this. Otherwise, if you want to select the current date, say now, to give you the
Okay.
current date and time.
Okay, just now.
Just like when you say new date in Java,
Yes, yes.
this one will give
Now.
you the current date and time. Just now, to give you current date and time.
You can also specify.
Yes, you can specify. You say that you put it in the string, say 2020, Kenekan, then you put the time as well. But if you put now, it will pay the current date and time. So assuming you want to add record into this one, so all you need to specify in the record are this, where we specify ID. You don't need to specify ID there.
We have to specify what, sir? Come again, sir.
You know this one is ID
Not
Yeah,
int,
okay.
not no auto increment. So you don't need to specify it. All you need to do is you specify. You don't specify this ID.
Okay.
As when you want
so
to add from it.
others will be specified.
So,
So
sir,
you can continue adding record, adding record, adding record, adding record as many as possible.
Sir, please, I have a question.
Okay.
Let's assume our first ID here is 1 now.
Yes.
If this should auto.
It will automatically increase it to 2.
Okay.
Okay.
That's my question.
But otherwise, you'll be the one
To specify.
to specify if it is not auto increment. Then how do we select? There are clauses. If you want to select all the record from the database, from a table, you can now say select. This is all means start from student. So it is select all the students. There is what we call clause. These clauses in database. So we have what we call where.
Where?
Where clause.
Okay.
You may decide it's okay. Maybe you want to select a particular column. Now say select, or even apart from where. If I say okay, select ID, matric number, age from what? Student. It means that I want to select only this column.
Okay.
From
From
this table.
student.
Then
from
you
table
put
student.
them, yes, from table student. You understand? Okay. So I may say I want to select. Let's take a look at where clause. Maybe you have another record called chemistry, you have physics, you have department. So you may not say okay, select. If I say select all from what? Where department must be the column.
Okay.
Okay.
Is equal to what? Biology. It means that it will fetch me only students that are in biology department. I say select all the column, but only students in biology department. That is what this one means. Do you understand it?
Yes, sir.
So if I say select all from students where email is equal to this, that means it's going to give me a student that has that email.
This particular email.
Yes. If I ask okay, you know we are saying select all, but you may say select ID, select this from student where. You can say okay, select all from student where email must be a column. So equal to. So if I execute this, it will give me empty result because we don't have record that have Odofin at. The only email we have is what? This only this. You get it?
Yes, sir.
That is one. That's using where clause. Now I'm teaching you this thing abstractly. We move to development environment. I can say select all from student where age greater than 18. So it will give me all the students that their age is above what? 18. We've learned one what? We will now learn or. We learn and. You understand? I can say select all from students where age greater than 18 or department equal to, let's say, like. So this one will fetch you record. It will fetch you the list of students, those that their age greater than
18.
or and and those that their department, if your age is not greater than
It
One
will
of
mean
the-
One
Oh.
of the
either of
condition
these.
must be
either of
true.
this. So when I say select all from what student where age greater than what 18 and department, it means that it must be
Two
exactly.
condition
It must be met. Yeah.
You understand? We've made use of.
Where or
So if I now say okay, select all from student where age not equal to 10. The meaning of this one is what? Not equal to. You understand? It means that any age that it will give you all other age apart from what? 10.
so
Do you have any question? Do you know why you understand this? Because we've gone through programming.
okay.
That's why it is easy for you to understand. Otherwise, you'll be asking questions. I know what Shina went through when Shina was asking different kind of a question.
So I have a question here.
Okay.
Instead of we stipulating that we want to add them one after the other, is there a method of which we can use to add everything, like add all, insert all?
You can have all your record in Excel and import it. You can have all your record. You can add multiple. You understand? Right? You are going to see how we add multiple. So what again do we want to do under the add? Okay, we can say okay. Maybe at times you may say you want to know. We are coming to that. Let me stop here. So let's move to, or we will still do more of advanced query. Let's update. There is update what clause.
It's utter. Abi?
There is alter. Not. You see, we use update to update the records in the table. But alter we use it to change the column, or you add column, or you rename the table.
Okay, like the literary meaning.
Yes.
Alter.
But update is the content of the table.
Okay.
Take for example now that I want to change the level of this guy from 300 to what? 200. And I say update the name of the table, students. You now say set level equal to 200. You now say where ID is equal to what? 1.
Wait, update student.
Set, you are setting level is equal to 200.
Yeah.
You need to if you say set level is equal to 200, if you have thousands of students you change all their level to 200. But in order to, you need to specify where ID is equal to what? 1. Or you say where email is equal to
Okay,
this.
you take another attribute from here.
Yes.
Abi?
ID
Yeah.
is
Indicate.
particular.
Yes, to indicate the one you want to update precisely. But if you say how can you update? You can update multiple. So you can say update student set level equal to what? 200. Phone equal to, give it a new phone number. You put comma, age equal to 10, where ID equal to 1. You know you can update multiple column. Do you get it?
Yes.
We use update to update the content of a table. But you see this alter, we use it to change the table structure itself. We are coming to alter. So open your MySQL. We are using workbench. I don't want us to use workbench. I want us to use that share.
Is there any database?
MySQL JS.
Nǹkan kan ní instructor kan lọ install it.
We have this and that. But I don't want us to use.
The workbench.
Okay, MySQL command
Command line.
line. Where is the password?
Ah,
That is.
sir.
You didn't put password.
I don't know if I remember.
You can't use the database if you don't remember. You remember. So this is a database environment you just install. Assuming you don't know anything about the database, you just want to see the list of database you have on the server. All you need to do is what? Show databases. Can you see it give you the what? You even created this database because Word doesn't. Okay, maybe Word comes with it by default. Possible. Do you understand? If I now want to say, how can I say, okay, use Word? It means that my current database is now Word. If I create table now, it will create table into the Word. So let's create another database. Let's say, okay, create database. Let's call it store. You understand? If I now say show databases, you know, store must have been added. So I will now say, okay, use what? Store. You see database change. So let's create this table inside the database. You see, query okay. Because that is what we did there. I just decided to create the table there. I just copy it, put it there.
Another table.
Another table. Show. If you now say, okay, show databases. Can you see it? There is something again. I can now say use what? Store. You know, database is store. But we should be able to view the list of table. To view the list of table in a database, you now say, you know, to view the list of database, you say show databases. But if you must have select a database, after you say you now say show tables. So show tables will give you the list of tables in the under this database you select. So if I now say show tables, it gave me out what?
Payment and student.
There is again, maybe you forget the structure of your table. You can say explain student. Explain student will give you the structure of your table. Explain student. Hello? Hello? Yes, sir. Okay. Báwo ni ẹ kálẹ̀ o? Yes. Ẹ wo Ọlọ́run ló tọ́jú gbogbo wa. Ah. Okay. Wọ́n wà wá dúpẹ́ fọlọ̀. Ọdún nìyẹn o. Àmì. Okay, ẹ ṣé gan. Yes. Wọ́n ní láti brother yín.
Okay, mo ti rí nọ́mbà yẹn. Mo ṣe nọ́mbà yẹn sísìn.
Ṣé you understand there? If I say okay, do you understand it?
Then,
If I ask okay, explain what? That I want to see the structure of my table. So how do we add record into this table? We use insert, right? Let's just copy your insert. you see it? That is, we've added what? How many records? One. Let me change this thing to, I will just change the ID. I will change the level to, so we will copy again. Let's just copy everything so that we have everything on a single line. So oh yeah, do you people understand it?
We are getting it.
You see it has added. So let's come. I just press this so that it will bring it back.
Okay.
I can say this one is in 100 level. This one is
Maths.
computer. Let's change the ID to be 3. Do you see it? So if I want to select all the record from the table, and that's okay. Select from what? Student. Can you see it? You understand?
Okay. Yes.
I say okay, select. Let's insert a record again for all the students so that we say this one is in 200 level. So we want to select all the students in, if I say select all from student, let's select all the students from computer science. Select all from what? Student. Where department is equal to what?
Computer science.
Computer. MySQL is not case sensitive.
Okay.
If you change this one to capital letter, it will still work.
Okay.
Can you see? It will give us all the students in computer science.
Wow.
You understand? All the students have the same age. Let's try and update. Update what? Student. Set age is equal to 20, where ID is equal to 4. I want to show set age is equal to 50.
Sorry.
Update student. Set age equal to 50, where ID is equal to 1. You understand? Let me send the age to was 60. So that if you select of students, it give us this. You get it? And that's okay. Select. I can say select ID, matric number, age, email from what? Student. Where age greater than 25. For instance, these are the list of people that they have, their age is greater than. So you can begin to query for now. So go and create this table. We've created this table. Go and add like 10 record there. Create this table. You're supposed to even, let me just create the table so that you populate it. So that I want to extract something there. Let's see whether our auto increment is fine. Okay, maybe there is issue with our auto increment. Create it because I did not know auto increment. I don't know if I forgot.
Together or
Maybe it's yes. Maybe that auto increment should be underscore. Shina,
Huh?
can you remind me
What?
this auto increment? MySQL auto increment. We just see the example, different let's say something else. the auto increment is together with this one. This one is taking time to load. Larry, did you touch that thing again? Eh?
Ma.
This is your express server. Or MySQL. Uh-huh.
Okay, auto increment. What?
Underscore. Time underscore.
Maybe we made mistake somewhere. Because we later put underscore. Is there anything we didn't do right? Cross code.
Maybe it's because you are letters specifying the ID.
Let's see about car. What again? If it's correct, no, not no. If you don't want it to be no, add the auto increment. It's still the same thing.
Or maybe there's supposed to be a comma or something before.
You don't want to make it primary key, well? Let's make it primary key. Primary key means it will not be duplicate. So it will work if you use primary key. Hide the int auto increment not no. Yeah, it's not the problem. Maybe something is not with what we have there.
Hey, leave it.
Create, look at it, this is the issue. We just say create register. Create table.
Okay.
Can you see it? I've added the table. We now say show tables. So you should know that we have cost register. So this one is auto increment. Go and add record into this. Go and add record to cost register. This one is not auto increment.
Okay.
So you have to include the ID. So go and insert record. Insert 1010 record. So we will now fetch this thing there tomorrow. But you will enjoy the tab.
What's the video and see?
Just
Yeah.
where is the video? Just stop it from here. What is your notification?
But no, very stop.